for herself and Tank Tolan. Of course, Tank Tolan, formerly of the WWE tag team known as the Dicks, he had some very notable feuds in the WWE with several of their top tag teams, including the new version of the Legion of Doom, which was comprised of Animal and John Heidenreich. I had the opportunity to speak to one of the original Legion of Doom members, Animal, here back in the archives of HEW Entertainment Variety Radio, and he touched on a lot of different topics, including the passing of his longtime friend and tag team partner, Hawk, and of course he also spoke about teaming up with Hawk and working against some of WWE's most notable tag teams, including the $1 Million Corporation from SummerSlam in 1991 or 1992, one of those years. And he also spoke about Paul Ellering and having the opportunity to work with him. I also had the privilege of talking with Paul Ellering about his time with the Legion of Doom. But definitely, Animal's interview can be found perhaps in the archives of HEW Entertainment here in an official radio form. If you have the time, browse through the collection of interviews and you might be able to find it. Animal was also very fond of his son playing college football. But, Tank Tolan definitely has to be thrilled over the fact that he's going to be having a child. There isn't much information about the pregnancy of Jillian Hall or the extent of it or how far along she actually is. But it was a very interesting story, and I just thought I'd make reference to it. Of course, Jillian Hall, I can remember when WWE were making the decision to sign her to a long-term contract for several number of years, and they were heavily hyping it. Jillian Hall's arrival to WWE was one of the most heavily hyped arrivals for a diva since Trish Stratus back at the turn of the millennium. I really think that her arrival in WWE received so much attention and so much hype. They were expecting so many great things from someone like Jillian Hall. She arrived in the SmackDown brand as sort of an image consultant for people like Melina and the tag team known as M&M, who went on to garner several WWE Tag Team Championships. Johnny Nitro, better known as John Morrison nowadays, and Joey Mercury comprised the team. Melina was the manager, and the acquisition of Jillian for M&M really allowed M&M to expand and become something more than what they already had amounted to in the business. Unfortunately for Melina, Melina and John Morrison had to go their separate ways due to a bit of unprofessionality on the part of both parties, and they were separated from being valet and manager and had to go on separate career paths. But definitely, through the experiences they had with Jillian, I think that all three of them were able to learn something new and expand. Of course, Jillian went on to become the image consultant of JBL after Amy Weber was released from WWE. I also had the opportunity to speak with Amy Weber, one of the most notable WWE divas from the year of 2004. Best known for her roles on The Young and the Restless and in the entertainment world, and being a part of the 2004 The Inaugural Diva Search, which is making its return very shortly to WWE television. But I really think that Jillian offered a lot to people like JBL and M&M, because of course M&M went on to become one of the most successful tag teams in the professional wrestling industry. And if it weren't for people like Melina and Jillian Hall, perhaps M&M, they would have had their athletic ability to rely on, but I really don't think their storyline would have made any sense or would have amounted to what it did amount to in the later years of 2005, 2006. And John Morrison probably would have never went on to become the success he is, referred to on WWE television now as the Prince and King of Hardcore Wrestling. I don't know how true that statement is, referring to John Morrison as the King of Hardcore, but definitely, Melina, John Morrison, and Joey Mercury, respectively, even though he doesn't work with WWE, owe a lot of credit to Jillian Hall for elevating them into the stars that they are today. And I think that Jillian Hall still, when she's on the internet, goes back on YouTube and revisits all the time that she spent with WWE, helping, teams like M&M and people like JBL get over as much as they did, as she did. And I really think that, she deserves a lot of credit where credit is due. And the decision for WWE to let her go, I guess, all relates back to the fact that she was pregnant, going to be having this kid, expecting this child, and I guess WWE released her on maternity leave. and I highly doubt we're going to see Jillian Hall back, but the memories that Jillian left us with are second to none. I mean, all the work that she did with people like Kelly Kelly, getting Kelly Kelly over in that match they had on Superstars and on Raw, several matches on Raw, several matches on shows like Superstars on WGN America. Jillian Hall really helped get a lot of people over, and some of the work that she did with a lot of them were absolutely phenomenal. The decision that they made to give Jillian Hall the WWE Divas Championship for about 2 minutes was an absolute disgrace, and I'll go on record for saying that to her career, simply because she had done so much throughout the span of time that she spent in WWE, and I really think that they could have at least given her the Divas Championship for probably 3 or 4 months at that, and they could have had her do a short little run with the title. I mean, she didn't, I'm not talking in terms of giving her a fabulous Moolah run with the Women's Championship or the Divas Championship and have her hold the title for 20 or 25 years for that record-breaking amount of time, but definitely they could have worked something out where she probably could have had the Divas Championship for about 3 or 4 months at that, and then had her drop the championship to Melina. If they were making the decision to have Melina be the Divas Champion as even a heel or a babyface, if they were going to make that decision to have Melina be the Divas Champion, they could have worked it out so that Jillian probably would have had the title 3 or 4 months, and then Melina probably would have had the title for a 6-month reign, a little bit of a longer reign than Jillian would. But I really think they should have done it fairly, and giving her the championship for about 2 minutes on an edition of Monday Night Raw, and then having her drop the title to Melina so quickly and effectively as they did was an absolute disgrace to the Divas Championship and the Women's Championship. And I made this statement on a previous audio commentary here for HEW Entertainment Variety Radio. I said that the fabulous Moolah has got to be rolling around in her grave at the disgrace that some of the divas are giving the Women's Championship and the Divas Championship, simply because the fabulous Moolah had the championship for about 25 years, and now you're seeing people like Jillian Hall get the title for about 2 minutes and then drop the title immediately after their victory to people like Melina and different things like that. I think if you're going to make the decision to give the championship to someone like Melina, who is a very effective heel right now in the later stages of her career on a brand like Monday Night Raw, I really think that the decision to give her the championship should be worked out and have it done more effectively than what it's being done right now, because Melina is one of those strong heels that are getting over so well with the fans, and it's a shame to know that they're not really doing a whole lot with her character right now. But if you use her effectively and have her work a good program against someone like Jillian, and have her become the champion in a righteous way, I guess you could say, it could work. But doing that to Jillian Hall, immediately showed me and showed a lot of the fans and probably some of the listeners who listen to these audio commentaries from week to week that you knew right then and there when Jillian dropped the title after winning it 2 minutes after her victory over somebody. You knew right then and there that they were going to eventually release Jillian Hall, as they did Tiffany, as they did Candice Michelle. When WWE loses faith in someone that they're pushing on Raw or SmackDown, that can indicate several things. And one of the most notable things that it can indicate is the fact that they're losing a tremendous amount of faith in them, and that they're eventually going to be released. A prime example of that was Tiffany, who was being pushed on SmackDown as a tag team, part of a tag team with Kelly Kelly and a feud with Laycool. After a bit of unprofessionality on Tiffany's part, being involved with Drew McIntyre, Tiffany was eventually released, and Kelly had to go back to being solo and working in singles matches on Friday Night SmackDown in the middle of her push. So, as quickly as a push can start for somebody, it can end. And when Jillian Hall was the Divas Champion for about 2 minutes, and she dropped the title immediately, then you knew that they were going to make the decision to ultimately release her, and eventually that's what happened. I don't even think WWE made reference or acknowledged her release on WWE.com, because usually what they will do when they release someone is post about 2 sentences about their release, wish them the best in their future endeavors, and I really don't even think they acknowledged Jillian Hall. That's almost as bad as when Andrew Martin passed away, and they made reference to him on WWE.com, but never gave him a tribute video or anything on Raw. They never even dedicated an edition of Raw or SmackDown to him. After all the years that he gave to the business, from 1999 to about 2009, so about 10 years given to him. People are dying now in the wrestling business, and they're not even making reference to them. But I really think that they should have done a lot more with Jillian Hall's character, because that gimmick that she had, that singing gimmick that got on everybody's nerves, got over so well with WWE creative. And Tank Tolan told me this in an interview. I've interviewed Tank Tolan several times. He said Jillian was one of those girls that had an original gimmick that she thought up and made up herself, and it garnered so much attention from WWE, and she really ran with the gimmick, and it was a shame that they really didn't do a whole lot with her character, because that singing gimmick could have eventually catapulted her into being a long-term Divas champion, or being one of the main divas on the roster. And for a majority of the time that she spent there, no matter if it was being the image consultant of JBL on SmackDown, or being the image consultant of Eminem, or being a singles competitor, I think Jillian really did stand out and was one of WWE's most notable divas. She had phenomenal photo spreads on WWEDivas.com, and she had a lot of attention being given to the fans. A lot of fans would plug their ears when Jillian Hall would come out and sing editions of Miley Cyrus's Party in the USA, or some hit song that was on the pop charts at one particular point in time. But she got on a lot of fans' nerves, kind of